Good to have you back here for some more lock-in action as we head into our third game of the day that finds Dignitas and Evil Geniuses going head-to-head. And so far, both teams are exceeding expectations.
And EG is looking really good. They're actually the last undefeated team remaining. Now that TL just dropped the game, it's only EG who have not yet lost. Dignitas, though, kicked out right out of the gates, really, really good. They did win that first game. People were not expecting a lot from them. And this was an impressive performance, I think, especially from the solo laners. Both Soligo and Fake God looked great in this game. It was a very impressive Yone performance, especially coming off of Perks having played it and not doing as well. People were thinking, all right, well, if Perks can't do it, Soligo definitely can't. But he looked really, really good in this one. And yes, they did lose their second game, but I still think overall things are feeling pretty positive for Dignitas, and going to be excited to see how they match up against EG, who has just been on a tear right now. They are coming out of the gates so hot, and Impact has gotten back-to-back Renekton games. He has been crushing it on this champion, has just looked really, really strong in general throughout the LCS Lock In tournament, Renekton as a pick. And both games he went for an aggressive build, he went for Blade of the Ruined King second, and he has just been a force.
You know that it's a big deal when you can look at the stats on the bottom of the screen right now for y'all at home and see his 4.5 KDA game and go, that was the bad game. Out of the two of them. 15.0 KDA in that first game against Cloud9 of all people. So not just one of the lower tier teams, one of those top tier teams as well. EG has definitely been flexing muscles here the first couple of days. We'll see if they can finish off strong. You already mentioned the last remaining lossless team here in the lock-in tournament, the Evil Geniuses, looking to get that done. And I'm very curious to see if Dignitas will elect to ban that Renekton away from them. And if so, what will Impact want to use afterwards? Because we haven't got to see anything else yet. I'm kind of curious what else he's got up his sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would want to either first pick it or ban it away if you are not going to be willing to first pick it here as Dig, because I think given that EG has been looking so good on it and that it pairs so well with a lot of the junglers in the current meta, EG would be happy to first round that. Talia going to be getting banned out. That has been such a popular jungle pick. Really does facilitate a lot of the top laners that you want to go for, because these days it feels like you often want to go AD top laners. It gives you the flexibility to do that without over-indexing, on too much attack damage. So, yep, taking that off makes sense, and I don't think we're going to see much Olaf. I mean, Olaf got through one game so far, crushed last game. I think that champion's pretty much going to remain perm banned for a while.
Yeah, I think the last game showed us exactly why Olaf gets banned as much as he does. But we've got Akali, Lucian, Camille, Pantheon, Olaf, and Talia all banned away. The reigning king of the top lane, the Renekton, the big old lizard, is still available to pick. Dignitas will not pick it. And sure enough, as soon as they don't, it's immediately hovered for EG. I fully expect him to lock this in.
Yeah, I mean, especially because you're denying now the good combo over from Dardoch and Fake God, right? Because Renekton Nidalee is a great combo. That's actually why you often picked that combo last year. People were really going towards that. This year it has been more about the Talia. They could go for something else, but it just makes sense. He's crushing on it, denies a powerful combo from your opponents. So pretty surprised that Dignitas did end up letting that through. This does mean, though, with Talia banned out, with Nidalee taken, the two premier AP junglers kind of are already off the table. So they're not going to lock in jungle just yet. Instead, going towards the Kai'Sa here for Deathly, which has kind of been, I would say, the premier marksman in professional play. People really, really loving the flexibility that this champion now has, especially with Gale Force. It just feels like you have so many more options.
Yep. Kai'Sa having an extra dash now besides just the killer instinct. If you only have one dash and it's your ultimate, you can feel sort of stuck sometimes in a team fight where there's a lot of threats you have to avoid, but Gale Force has alleviated that for so many champions. It's also a very viable option on Graves as that gets locked in for Evil Geniuses and Svenskeren. We've seen players use it to great success in solo queue, especially where it just gives you the extra ability to stick to targets, kite them out, and really alleviate the weakness of Graves' short range. So here in the first selection of champions, we've got Nidalee, Aphelios, and Gnar versus Renekton, Kai'Sa, and Graves. Second part of the bans rolling in now with Thresh to be the first one banned away.
And Gnar great in the 1v1 against Impact here on the Renekton. You know, you can just outrange, you can push in, and really in the 1v1 you're pretty effective overall. The issue here is just that Gnar doesn't really set up that well for the Nidalee, so you're going to have to depend largely, I think, on just getting the push so that Nidalee can invade and try to steal away camps and whatnot. But Graves is a pretty fast farmer here too. I'm going to be interested to see if Dignitas does draft any hard CC to try to set up for the Nidalee so that she can gank. Because generally speaking, without that setup, it is pretty hard for Nidalee to do more than just power farm. You don't really see Nidalee hitting a lot of spears at the pro level without someone getting locked down prior to that happening.
Well, Yone has been banned away from Saligo. They know they're not up against Perks in this game. They're up against a Yone that they're going to have to fear. I know it's only been one game, but it is kind of fun to poke fun at Perks' Yone.
Of course.
We had such high expectations for it. But Orianna and Syndra banned away. Two of those staple mid laners. Two of the champions we've seen more of than almost anything else in mid lane in professional play, both banned out by Dignitas here. They want to keep the mid lane a little bit spicier this time around, and Maokai locked in for Evil Geniuses.
So it will be Maokai support, and I want to say this is the first one we've seen in LCS. It's actually really, really strong. This is an absolute terror in solo queue. You can go Imperial Mandate. It actually applies the debuff with pretty much every spell that you have because all of them do apply some form of CC. You can just do an Emax for saplings or a couple points into that, then go elsewhere, you know, for a longer duration route or whatever you want to go for. But the saplings are really, really annoying for lane. It pretty much means you can't play near the bush. It also means that clearing areas for vision can get really frustrating because even though it is a support Maokai, the damage is actually pretty significant. What EG, though, is giving up here is the Zoe. And there's also been multiple mages banned out mid lane. You know, you touched on the Orianna and the Syndra. Part of the reason that they're also being banned is because it's AD jungler, AD top lane, you have a marksman in the bot lane, so they know that EG needs AP, and that's why they're focusing on taking away those picks in particular. So Jizuke is going to have some sort of option here that is AP and that works well. Malzahar would be pretty interesting, but it's actually going to be Ryze, which I have not really been seeing like any of it feels like lately. Has not been a super popular pick with the item reworks, but does obviously work very well as far as the 1-3-1 style. Can set up well for ganks from the Graves because you have that point and click route, and they are going to have a fair bit of CC between the Maokai and the stun from the Renekton, the lockdown from the Ryze. Those are all going to be ways to apply Plasma and allow Deathly to fly on in also. And on the other side, we did get that Leona, which is that setup for the Nidalee. Gives them a lane that you can gank to in team fights, gives them a target that can be locked down and burst down. And there isn't really like a true tank over on EG, so everyone's going to be pretty squishy. So if you do get poked out by the Nidalee, by the Zoe, it's going to be dangerous because this is not going to be a true tank on the Maokai, right? Very likely it will be the Imperial Mandate sapling build, and that's like a really, really squishy Maokai. And Renekton is not a true tank also. You're not building up those distances. You're drain tanking, as you say, yeah.
Well, I really like the Ryze pick here for Evil Geniuses. Actually, when I saw the Malzahar pick hovered, I'm not going to lie, Isaac, I hated it. I don't think that it fits Jizuke's style really at all. Malzahar is to group up with the team, press R on a guy that matters, and then collect your free LP. Ryze is something that you have to be more proactive on. Again, going around, making plays, split pushing, setting up the 1-3-1, all these things that you were talking about, making sure you've got good macro, collapsing with the rest of the team. And I think when Jizuke is on the same page with the rest of his team, that's where he shines the most. I don't want to see him on a champion like Malzahar. I want to see him on a Ryze or on a LeBlanc or something similar.
My question is just like, is the champion in a good state, right? You know, because it's actually fair. Like out of win rate data, which isn't everything. We have to put a pause to that as Deathly is going to get chased out, but it looks like he's fine. You know, out of collected win rate data for solo queue, it is ranked 85th out of 86 recorded champions for mid lane. So it's a very low win.
What?
In pro play, it has one pick globally, right? So no one's really playing Ryze. You know, I have not been seeing it at all in solo queue. I've not been seeing it at all in pro play. Does not mean that it can't work. But I'm just going to be interested to see how Jizuke does here. You know, if this was a case of him just getting pushed off of all of his comfort picks because he needed AP. They knew that. Syndra was banned. Orianna was banned. Akali was banned. Zoe was taken away. You know, is this just him saying, well, I guess I'm playing Ryze? Or was this actually like a pre-planned thing? That's kind of what I'm curious about.
Well, We'll have it all played out in front of our eyes before too much longer. We'll see if it was a good pick or not, and how well Jizuke can pilot it here with the new items, the revamped everything in Season 11. Him and Soligo just going to be trading back and forth a little bit here with the auto attacks at level 1. Junglers starting on opposite sides of the map here yet again. Svenskeren beginning with the red buff. Dardoch starting down there with his own red towards the bottom lane. So we'll see if these two end up finding each other or if they're just going to end up pathing in reverse, with Svenskeren ending up down towards the bottom lane. Up here in the top side, you can see Impact already taking control of the top side 1v1 matchup, shoving out this wave here a little bit. Dives forward with the slice after Fake God, but only a level 2 Renekton means no stun ready to be cast, so he just gets a quick trade and then right back out.
Yep, and he mainly just wanted to reset the wave because he knows this is around the timing where a jungler could start moving up towards top. So by getting the wave fully reset there, he can now take this time, go in, ward it out. He's actually going to spot the Nidalee on the blue, so now he has full information. The wave will be pushing towards him so he can play defensively. And just with that kind of really intelligent play, it means he's not really going to be gankable. Because even if you just have to AFK and stand back, the wave's going to come to you. You're not going to really lose much more than a minion or two. So just smart stuff there from Impact. A small thing, but good wave management from him allows him to keep himself out of trouble.
And just like right there, I love how Impact is always aware of how much damage he can get in, even if it's just a little. Just dashing forward, grabbing yourself one quick auto into the stun, and then right back out. He's trying to chip his opponent down every single time he gets the opportunity. There's your follow-up, and Impact's doing so much damage onto Fake God, forces him down to below 100 HP. Fake God will go ahead and teleport back after he does a recall here. Even with a little bit of potions in his inventory, there's no way he recovers back to a playable state in this lane without backing. Yeah. So he'll return to lane with a cloth armor and a refillable potion. Not the best first back, but when you're up against Impact, sometimes you end up in that sort of a spot.
Yeah, and he was forced to TP also because the wave was going to push away from him, right? So now Impact can thin the wave and shove it in if he wants to reset himself. But, this is all off of Impact, really managing the wave well. Dissuades any potential gank with his early ward, had reset the wave, means it's coming towards him. That means Fake God has to push up and is more vulnerable to getting attacked. Impact gets a big trade, pushes him out of lane, forces the TP. It's these little plays that are adding up to create an advantage for him. And we're getting to see a little bit of insight into why he's been doing so well on this pick over the last couple days.
I just love watching a player like Impact, who's been around for so long, who is literally a former world champion, much like yourself, and has his own skin in the game, just continue to be successful, even 11 seasons in, as we've got the dive showing up, and Ignar's tanking a lot of damage from the turret. First blood goes over to Dignitas, but they will end up losing 2, but it's a 2 for 2. EG brought the whole party down here into bottom lane, but they break even with Dignitas.
Yeah, we'll have to see where all the gold did actually go. Dignitas, I believe, got first blood there. I'm not sure who all picked up those kills, but for now, it's not looking worthwhile. They wanted to make good on that TP that they actually had coming down from the top lane. So, their bot lane got a little bit of head off of it, so they're going to be kind of happy about that. The fact that Afro picked up one of the kills isn't great for Dig. Of course, I'm not blaming him in that situation. You're not just trying to pass over a kill to a carry. You're just trying to survive. So overall, it's okay. But it does mean that's the TP expended. That was the advantage that Impact gained for himself. And with the extra members bought, they do just go even. I think they need to be a little bit more patient on how they started this off. It felt like they started kind of early. They do see that the jungler is here, but turret aggro is already picked up and the TP is not completed. Jizuke and Svenskeren aren't attacking when that first root comes through. So I think they just got a little bit antsy. Had they waited until the TP was already down, that arrives, Svenskeren is on top of the carry, then Ignar pulls aggro, that would have worked better. And I think you can also, as the Maokai, start that dive with a Q instead of your W, so that you can actually reset the turret aggro with the W to dodge that. But now, trying to move up to that top side, see if they can get Fake God.
Well, they go in with the Realm Warp, and then Fake God just runs away into the river, but Impact's there to follow it up. A little bit more damage coming out of the Renekton now. We'll need a couple more auto attacks to finish Fake God off, but it won't be done. They don't have the damage here just yet. Good evasion there from Fake God as Dardoch's flashing away to stay alive now too. Thinking about going right back into the fight, but if he does, he will surely die. There is no stopwatch to drop the aggro if he goes in for some damage onto anyone. Soligo marching forward here, lands the point-blank trouble bubble onto Svenskeren, and Soligo will pick himself up a kill, the third one of Dignitas here for the game, and they will take a lead over Evil Geniuses.
Really good roam by Aframu, making his way all the way up to that top side. Not much lost by Neo down on the bottom side. Jizuke trying to sneak around, but he was spotted, I'm pretty sure. Walked through vision, so shouldn't be able to get Fake God here. The wave maybe going to be frozen on him, but it looks like Impact just wants to thin it out. So all things said and done, Dignitas handling that very, very well. Afro gets rewarded for the roam. Grabbing a kill there for Soligo is going to be really, really nice.
Now, one thing Dignitas has to make sure of in this game is to not get distracted, not let a little bit of this momentum get them lost in what they want to do next. We've seen teams do well early in the past, but fail to translate it into mid-game stuff. So I like what we're seeing here from this squad so far. The roams are good. It seems like everybody's coordinated. I want to see them keep this up as we push forward. 7.5 minutes on the clock, 300 gold lead. Here for the side of Dignitas with a kill on jungler, mid laner, and support. Aframu going ahead and completing the steel caps all the way, so this Leona will be deceptively speedy until everybody else in the game is able to catch up and grab those tier 2 boots. Could be a big playmaking opportunity for him, especially once the solar flare appears. Jizuke, once again in enemy territory. We'll see if he can make a play on Fake God this time. Realm Warp is not available. He will have to walk it all the way in if he decides to, and here he comes. Control Ward sees him. Impact continuing to move forward. Slice starts it off. Dice still ready to go. Impact keeping Fake God locked down. And finally, the third time's the charm. Fake God falls here in the top lane.
That was a clean dive. That's exactly how you want to play it. They wait until the hop was already used by Fake God, then point and click stun. Jizuke is beside the minions, so there's no minions in between to actually block any Q or anything like that. Renekton stun into the Rise stun, Root, excuse me. All the damage comes through. Easy kill on the Mininar, and he doesn't have TP to boot, so he's going to lose all the farm, and they get a plate. Really good proactive play already here from Jizuke, and something I'm already noticing going to make Mark very happy is I think we're going to get Moonstone Renewer from the Nidalee. I think Dardoch is going to be going towards that. I believe that's called the Bandle Glass Mirror, I want to say. I'm not sure if I have that right, but that is the component for the support item, so probably going to be Moonstone Renewer. This is something that a lot of people have been talking about. You know, he was talking about it with Lilia, but I do think it can work as a more supportive style of build also here on the Nidalee. It's kind of similar to what we used to see with that old style of Nidalee where people would go with Fiends. It's more of the supportive style. Moonstone Renewer can really have some huge, huge numbers of healing. When you are hitting your opponents, you proc that heal. That, in addition to Nidalee's own healing, can be pretty powerful, but in trouble here.
Ooh, nice poke combo coming out there from Dignitas to take down Jizuke. 2v1, they land the bubble, they land the paddle star, they land the spear, but now it's a 2v2 in the bottom lane. Neo getting himself away from the engage of Ignar, definitely trying to follow it up here a little bit as the ulti comes through from the Maokai, but he is out of mana now. TP coming in now as well, definitely make sure he fully commits with the flash to take down his AD carry opponent, but now the follow-up comes through and Soligo with the TP makes it a 1-for-1.
But I still think that was the right play from Deathly, right? I think if you actually try to retreat there, I do not think you get out. So by him committing in, not only did he kill off Neo, but Soligo wants to make sure the marksman dies, so Ignar actually lived, right? So it ends up being that trade, and you got the TP out from your opponents. Mid lane can get pushed in. Yes, Soligo is getting pretty strong here, so that is dangerous, but I think making the best of a bad situation there was Deathly.
Definitely making it so he at least breaks even on that, staying ahead of his opponent by a little bit of farm. 2-1-1 here on the Kai'Sa. Feeling good with where he's at, scaling forward in this game. Dardoch trying to just clear out some of the wave here in mid as he waits for his own mid laner to return. 3-0 for Soligo here on this Zoe, though. This guy's having a pretty darn good game for himself. Let's take another look at how that play happened bottom that he was able to go clean up.
Yeah, Soligo has been impressing thus far, and this was just a bit of a face check. Gets too close, flash, root, Neo cleanse flash, try to get out of there, but caught by the end of this Maokai ultimate, so the plasma is still there. Definitely just flashes in on the rooted target, finishes him off with the Q, and now Soligo, the TP arrives, does clean up the kill, but it allowed Ignar to get out, so it is that 1-for-1. Beneficial overall, I would say, for EG. Neo does still have the flash, he just did use the cleanse, so not as bad as it could be, but definitely is getting ahead here, and that's not a position that you want Kai'Sa to be in. Kai'Sa can be extremely difficult to deal with from ahead, can allow you to get to a position where you can dive in the back line very, very effectively. There's so much point-and-click CC on EG, so going to be easy to apply Plasma to those key targets and allow Deathly to follow up and try to delete them.
Deathly will be critical for them being able to win this game here. Dignitas still maintaining a very slight lead. 5-4, 400 gold ahead. First Drake hasn't been taken yet. We're almost 12 minutes into the game, Azale. Normally we see these first Drakes go a bit faster than that. It was started up there by Svenskeren and an EG. A nice spear from Dardoch finding Deathly. Does mean that Dignitas will have a bit of an advantage here if this turns into a full-on team fight. Solar Flare coming down. Svenskeren in a bad spot. Deathly the same. Tries to get himself away here. Somehow just barely staying alive as the Drake goes over to EG. They're going to find themselves a fight now, too, with a kill, a shutdown onto Saligo. Dignitas still stuck here in the bottom side river. Fake got just about enough rage to transform. Can they get the distance they need to get something off the back of this, though? Flash away from Jizuke. Half HP, but he's still alive. Dignitas still looking to close the gap here. Fake God stepping forward. Jizuke slammed up into the wall, likely to fall. Neo picks up the kill on that one.
Yeah, that's a big kill there for Neo, but EG at the end of the day, they get the shutdown on Saligo. Rise picked up the kill. They get the Dragon, so a lot of summoners were forced off of them. That is kind of their deficit there, but I still think they're going to be pretty happy overall to have gotten that big shutdown kill onto Jizuke, to pick up the Dragon. Pretty good stuff there from EG. That being said, it does get Dignitas back a little bit with the gold. You're trying to catch up Neo. So here's the play one more time. The sleep did land. Afro goes for the stun. Definitely not able to sidestep out of it. Just barely, though, survives with the ultimate back at the lowest amount of HP there. And then Impact and Jizuke have caught Saligo off to the side, flash in, stun. They get the shutdown. And then we did see that eventual chase down here on Jizuke, who proc the phase rush, tries to get out. But since Fake God has the flash and did connect with that boulder, is able to get him slowed down enough to eventually catch up, scoop him in the wall for the easy kill.
Nicely done from Dignitas, making sure they didn't lose out too much there on the back end of that fight. But EG is still happy to take a 1-for-1 with an objective they get on top of it, icing on the cake. Mythic starting to be completed here for everybody. We got some Ludens for the Zoe, Moonstone Renewer completed for Dardoch's Nidalee there, but they're only the first two to have those up and ready to go. Everybody else still working towards them. Probably going to see those here in the next minute or two. Dignitas positioning themselves to potentially make a turret dive here on the tier 1 in bottom lane. But with Ignar hanging around, they know there's a lot of CC there, and it's a very risky move. EG, though, will take down that first turret of the game here in the top lane.
Yeah, and all that gold going into the pockets of Impact, because I believe he got solo gold from the drop of the Rift Herald as well. So yeah, as a result, 1,700 or so gold ahead of Fakeon. That is a big lead for him. But of course, it does mean that with the equal gold elsewhere, a lot of his teammates are going to be behind. You can see a significant gold lead for Dardoch, who's doing very, very well. You can see in the bot lane, it's actually Neo slightly ahead in gold now also. So Impact is going to have to come up big in these fights, going to have to make use of all that gold that he has.
Impact's Renekton, man. Is it going to be the three-peat here in the opening weekend of the LCS Lock In tournament? Saligo trying to get himself away from the EG collapse, and well done. Waiting around, using the cleanse, getting away from the CC and the flash over the wall. The real flash, not just a Zoe flash, to stay alive and get out of that three-man collapse. Well done.
Yeah, that was really nice from him. Ignar, quick thinking to actually flash into the pit from that angle. I think a lot of people would have flashed towards the river through the tri-brush and maybe just gotten chased down, but does get caught out, has to expend that flash, and we'll be heading back towards bot lane here with Deathly, who over the last couple of minutes, hasn't been doing as well, hasn't been able to pick up as much farm as he would have liked. They were out quite a bit in the advantage, and unfortunately for EG, that lead has kind of dwindled, but the game's still sitting very even. And I'm going to be really interested to kind of track the Moonstone Renewer numbers throughout the game. Maybe we can get some info from our stats team on how that is going to be progressing, because you can get some insanely high amounts of healing from this item. It can be very, very surprising how much it does, especially if you're doing a good job actually staying in combat, because every second spent in combat is increasing the bonus on your next heal to up to 50% bonus, right? And then anytime you hit an attack or a spell on an enemy champion, it's going to heal the nearest person to you on your team. And it can become very, very significant throughout a fight to the point where you're putting out hundreds and hundreds of healing in an individual fight that can completely change the pace of that fight.
All right, EG, let's see what you can get here out of the Shelly. Summoned up in mid lane. They will need a little bit of extra damage. Her charge shouldn't be able to finish this off straight away. Yep, there it is. Needs a little bit more to make it happen, but a good defense from Dignitas will keep the turret barely standing. Oh, Fake God. That was not what you needed with the ulti, but the follow-up from the rest of the team is right on point. They get the kill anyway.
Yeah, it was a nice sidestep from Jizuke, and to give a little bit of credit to Fake God, he had about a split second left on the rage bar, so he had to use it immediately. He couldn't actually wait, or he would have gone out of Mega. And just the fact that he actually forced Jizuke to sidestep back meant Jizuke did get chased down, so it works out in the end. Nice attempt at an escape there from Jizuke, but not really going to be able to get out. And Dardoch going full support here. So he's going Staff of Flowing Water as that next item here. This is going to be much more that full support in Italy, which allows you to play the game in a different way. You don't have to dive in and look for those kills. You can sit back and heal it up. But Impact in the backline now.
Speaking of diving in, both top laners doing it, but a very different outcome. Impact still being kept alive here in a 1v3. Might drop down at the very end, but still stays alive. Double kill over to Deathly now. Evil geniuses, man. They take the Drake and a 2 for nothing because Fake God tried to jump in the middle and got immediately exploded while Impact managed to hold everyone's aggro for a solid couple of seconds.
Yeah, it felt like Dignitas was happy to take that fight because Jizuke was dead, but since he had TP available on respawn and he was respawning right around the time that fight was happening, he got in there very, very quickly. Again, the EG solo laners are grouping up to take down the backline. They're getting on top of Soligo in the last two fights, killing Soligo off, who's getting caught on that Zoe, burst down, and it's allowing EG to get the advantage in these fights. They now have their second dragon working towards that soul and looking pretty damn good at it. Again here, EG playing it pretty slowly initially until the Rise comes in, then Impact flashing on top of Soligo, stuns him up. Jizuke wrapping around here as he comes into the zone. He was always going to go down. Impact tanking up as much as he could before just retreating back into the brush and being able to get out scot-free. So really nice team fighting there from EG. Great coordination from Impact and Jizuke. And to sidestep a little bit back towards Dardoch and his build, he has picked up the Staff of Flowing Water. So this is that kind of support in Italy style build. And if you don't know this item, what it does do is it increases your shielding and healing, but it's also anytime you heal or shield rather on a teammate, you're giving them additional movement speed, plus you're giving them AP. So it can be pretty powerful, and it's all going to be along the same lines of what you want to do with this Moonstone Renewer. You can sit back, you can heal Neo, you don't have to be diving in and one-shotting someone. You can be buffing up Soligo even, and it's honestly a really effective style. It's just a different way to play in Italy. It doesn't really slow down your farming at all, it just limits your burst.
One thing that I also wanted to bring up about that last fight and sort of what happened there, Neo was coming around from the side while Fake God was trying to engage on 3 players from EG, and before Neo can even reach the fight, Fake God is already dead. I feel like Dignitas comms failed a little bit in that one. They didn't quite understand exactly how long Fake God was going to be alive or how far away Neo was or what, and this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, where we can see teams that start off performing better than what we expected struggle in some of these heavier decision-making moments in the mid-game when you have to have everybody coordinated and have to have everyone thinking the same thing and playing it out in their heads the same way beforehand. So Dignitas losing out on that last fight, finding themselves down a couple of thousand gold. EG also importantly stacking 2 Drakes already with 2 minutes until that third one is alive. It will be an Ocean Soul map here in this third game of the day. So plenty for EG to fight for here on the map. What's the strategy here, Azael, for Dignitas to get back into this game and sort of staunch this bleeding a little bit?
I mean, I think they're doing okay. To me, they need to actually play more slowly, at these team fights. You talked about, Fake God going in, looking for the engage. You're playing with Zoe Nidalee, right? You're not playing this like kind of just run at them and one-shot them style of composition. You're playing to get positioning, so you need to get to the objectives earlier. You need to clear out vision so you stop getting flanked by these TPs from Impact and Jizuke. And you need to allow Soligo and Dardoch to get poked, but they're not doing that. They're just engaging again.
Afromu taking a lot of damage here as Neo gets jumped on. Impact is just it. He is the X factor of this team game after game after game. Picking up another kill here. It's enemy bot lane down. Impact still stuck on the front line. Going to try to slice through him, but they will finally bring him down here. So a 1 for 2 still in EG's favor.
Yeah, still in EG's favor. I just don't think they're giving enough time to really kind of poke out their opponents, right? Saligo wasn't even there. You're playing a poke comp. You have Nidalee and Zoe. Yes, you do have some engage here, but you want to poke them down, soften them up, and then generally utilize the Leona and the Gnar to then engage and try to finish them off, or to poke them off and then take the objective. But they're being so aggressive with the engage that they're always engaging on their opponents pretty much at full health. And then I just think that EG's comp just functions better from that place. I mean, in this case, they just didn't have enough vision, right? You're engaging, and it's a 3v4. You go forward into them. Afro was pretty much always going to die. Neo got a great Infernum ultimate, so splash damage was going everywhere, but Impact gets on top of him, knocks him down. Great job by Saligo, placing the sleep in the corridor, forcing Impact to try to walk back into his team. Wasn't really able to get around it in that situation. So they do at least get one kill back, and now they're landing that poke, but you got to play it slow. Have some patience. Clear out the vision. Poke them down, and don't play it like you're going for this go button style comp.
Well, now's a good time to land some of that poke with that Drake about to spawn. Impact getting locked down. Big pick there for Dignitas, taking out the enemy top laner. But Evil Geniuses has already put players in the Drake pit. They'll secure their third Drake of the game. They'll maintain the 2,000 gold lead. Dignitas will use this opportunity to take down the tier 1 turret here at mid. But now they're marching over towards Baron. Do they actually want to make this call? It looks like they do. Spears and paddle stars being thrown out, and Dignitas is daring Evil Geniuses to make a play.
At the very least, they want to get the TP from Jizuke, right? And I think Jizuke should have the TP to try to dissuade them from committing to this Baron. Now the TP is coming in. We'll see if they want to commit to it. I think they're going to have to turn and fight.
Well, Dignitas, it's time to make that decision here and now. Jizuke coming around from the side. TP showing up from Impact here as well. Baron down to 700 HP. Jizuke already grabbing one kill. Evil Genius is looking to find even more. The Baron has been taken, secured by Fake God of all people, but everybody on Dignitas is fallen over. It's Fake God and Dardoch, the only two left alive. A good escape from both of them. So it's a Baron for 3 kills.
It's still not great for Dignitas, but at the very least they got out. If everyone died there and they didn't even have a Baron buff, it would have been horrible. Still, they are going to
so close to a Dig Baron.
Yeah, I mean,
that was so close.
Still, they are going to lose their mid lane turret, very likely. Top lane is being pushed up. Definitely will play with respect because Ignar is very low, so they didn't want to take that 2v2. The turret may survive, but top lane is being pressured. They're going to have, Baron buff with the squad from Dardoch, and they could actually put Fake God out on the side lane in 1-4. We'll see if Jizuke and Impact get chased down here at all. Afro with the flash.
Nicely done by Afro. He gets the slow from the Solar Flare, and that's enough to flash after him with the Zenith Blade. Fake God's right there with the Mega Gnar into the wall, and the shutdown credit goes over to Dardoch. 4-0-4 here on this Nidalee. You said the build takes out some of the burst, but the man seems to be doing plenty okay for himself.
Yeah, in the 3v1, he's got enough to kill the Rise. And he's got the Magi stacking it up. Another couple pages go into the book. Let's watch it one more time. This is a gutsy call. They're trying to kind of call their bluff, EG, but they realize they're committing to it. They TP in Jizuke. He's coming up from behind them. And this was just a great Maokai ultimate from Ignar. Across the team, they're not in a line. You need to have one person soak it. Everyone else needs to be behind that person so they're not getting multiple players rooted up. Instead, they were spread out. 3 to 4 of them got rooted, including 2 to 3 that were stacked up for Jizuke's damage from behind, which just meant their backline was getting erased by that Rise. They do take down a top lane turret, though, off of the kill on Jizuke, and EG now looking to punch back, seeing if they can chase him down.
Fake God the target here at the start. Void Seeker comes through. Fake God going to continue taking some damage. Root comes through onto Svenskeren. Dignitas fighting back a little bit now. Solar Flare finding no target as Evil Geniuses disengages, and Dignitas is able to walk away.
Good disengage there. Did cost them the TP out of Saligo. And Jizuke is going to be shoving up mid, but not really going to lose much of anything there. So not too much does happen, and I think this game is really going to come down to that next dragon fight because we do have the potential Ocean Soul coming up here for EG, and that is such a powerful buff, especially when you're playing a poke-style composition. It becomes even more difficult to deal with. They also don't really have any healing debuffs on their team. Sure, they have Bramble and Fake God, but that's not going to do it. you're really going to need to itemize towards a lot of healing debuffs to even have a hope of dealing with that. So EG is going to play for this dragon, and we'll see if Dignitas can poke him out enough to dissuade them from taking it.
Soligo landing half of the HP of Ignar there with a trouble bubble. So getting some of that poke down here, but still plenty of time before the Drake spawns for Ignar to be able to heal up. And honestly, you can see his health bar already doing a good job of recovering right here. Svenskeren hanging out in the pit. And remember that whenever it's an ocean rift, you've got to be so respectful of that brush in the back of the pit. It complicates warding and stealing and 50-50s and everything. It can be so difficult to make sure you've got control over that if you don't already control the entirety of the area around the pit first. So I'm looking at EG to guarantee that they've got control over this Ocean Soul take. It'll be a huge power spike for them. It'll be something that their opponents will immediately have to react to, because there are not already any grievous wounds on the side of Dignitas that I'm seeing right now, other than the Bramble Vest of Fake God, which is highly conditional because it requires your opponent to attack you with an auto attack.
Yeah,
so once that Ocean Soul
going to be
kicks
auto attacking the Gnar.
yeah, Rise is not going to auto attack you. So once that Ocean Soul kicks in, if Dignitas does not want to contest this neutral objective, they will need to get some healing reduction.
Yeah. Right now, though, EG is split, so Dig have the opportunity to potentially engage, but if they try to peel back, they're going to get... Oh, my God!
Soligo's already down. Dig might have the chance to engage, but not no more. Azael Impact's going to be the next to fall here in the fight, but Afromoo drops 2. Plenty of damage being dealt out by Neo, but here comes Svenskeren. Jizuke going right back into the Realm Warp, looking to maybe find something else going on. Dardoch's running all the way away. And that fight will do it. Only Dardoch left alive means evil geniuses get to take an Ocean Soul.
They're getting soul for themselves. Neo fighting valiantly at the end there. Got so much damage out, but Soligo was just dead instantly on that fight. I think Dignitas just, it felt like they hesitated a tiny little bit, because EG had 3 members below them, 2 members above them, and at that point, when you realize that, you must immediately engage towards one side, right? Try to create a 5v2 or a 5v3. Fight away from the opposing players on that other side who are trying to flank you, and it felt like they had this little moment of hesitation where they kited back towards that mid lane, and it gave EG time to get this pincer. So this is the moment I'm talking about. When they notice right around now, they see Ignar's there. It feels like they need to go towards him. Instead, they try to start kiting back. Soligo's moving back down towards his base. He is separated from the team, and the trap is sprung. Neo gets so much damage down in the back end of the fight, actually just erases deftly, and then he has all those chakrams stacked up. Was getting a ton of damage down, almost able to survive and take down multiple members, but it was just that initial hesitation and split that Dignitas had that allowed Soligo to get picked off for free and allowed them to get pincered. EG has just been really, really good on those engages.
There were so many chakrams there. It was a full-on circle around him by the time he fell over. 1 or 2 more auto attacks, and he could have been able to clean up that fight, but decisiveness from Evil Geniuses managed to take him down in time. Ocean Soul in their possession now, commanding a 3,000 gold lead. Still a pretty close game overall, everything considered here, 29 minutes into it. Dignitas will have a much steeper mountain to climb at this point, though, with the state of that Ocean Soul. We'll see if Baron becomes contested here very soon. Impact diving into the middle of 5, looking to start off the fight here. Neo's not stocking up any chakrams today. The Maokai ulti coming through just to zone everyone else out. Realm Warp comes through too. There comes 4 members of EG. They've got the minion wave here in the mid lane. This could be a game-ending push if they decide to go for it, Isaac.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a game-ending push. They have shown no hesitation thus far. And Svenskeren is low. Oh my God.
Low is better than dead, and Dardoch is dead on that one. Fake God's going to join him. Double kill over to Deftly, but he sticks around underneath the turret a little bit too long. 2 for 1 here for Evil Geniuses. 10 seconds left on Neo and Afromoo, so EG decides the game cannot be ended here and now.
Okay, they're just going to retreat back towards the Baron, so that kill pretty critical, and definitely being down means maybe there's a chance that Dignitas can get out on the map and do something about this. I'm not sure they're going to feel confident, but they've got to try. They have their bot lane and their mid laner alive. They're moving over towards the Baron. It's going to go down more slowly because Deftly is dead. That being said, it might not be going down slow enough. It looks like they're not even going to get in range.
Nope. They can just get out over the wall. The 2 champions that have dashes go over that backside of the wall, and then Maokai and Rise can just walk on out the front door. Evil Geniuses picking up a Baron, and unlike the Baron that Dignitas got that was immediately punished, they were swift enough to get out without consequences. Let's take another look at the attempted end of the game here at the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, and this burst on Dardoch was just crazy. He died pretty much instantaneously there. His first death of the game. Fake God scoops in deftly, but deftly just barely able to ult out under that stun that was coming through from the Meganar. Unfortunately for him, not realizing he had turret aggro, so it does take a couple shots there.
Yeah.
A little bit of egg on his face, but still looking really good this game. And EG are poised to close this one out. Fake God, pretty far up, has got to be careful here because Jizuke has reached true late game stage. He is really, really strong on the rise at this point. And Kaisa is going to be no slouch either.
The Rise has worked out. You had questions at the beginning of the game. Is this champion strong enough in the current state of League of Legends to be competitive, to be viable in a pro play scenario? And at least here in this game, it looks like the answer is yes. Jizuke has 65 CS over his opponent, 6, 5, and 8 on the KDA, participating in 2/3 of his team's total amount of kills. It's been a good showing from him here so far.
I mean, he has played really well, and this has been one of his signature picks throughout his career, one of the ones he's really known for. He's been so proactive on the map, moving around, again, using the Realm Warp here to try to chase down Fake God, who's maybe in some trouble here.
Fake God kiting away, gets back through the wall in the... through the hole in the wall, in the base, I should say, as the remainder of EG says, all right, you've got all your attention up there in the top side. We're just going to go ahead and take bot side inhib if you don't mind. Turns out Dignitas do. They'll keep that one alive with only 25% HP. But now, the tug of war that is trying to defend your base and being pulled from lane to lane, trying to stop every single point of pressure, is finally breaking a bit here for Dignitas. That mid lane inhibitor is gone. Bottom lane inhibitor exposed. Bottom lane inhibitor nearly exposed, excuse me. Top lane inhibitor now vulnerable as Deftly continues the push up here. Impact trying to just end this game, pushing forward, has Jizuke right behind him. So much power here for this Evil Geniuses roster. They blow Fake God up immediately. As soon as he gets stuck in the Rune Prison, the follow-up CC is right there. Maokai ulti coming through, trying to see if they can catch anybody valuable here on Dignitas. Leona being the only one getting hit. You don't necessarily want to dive onto Leona in between two Nexus turrets, but it's still a 5v4. Saligo with the flash to get himself away. Counterattack coming down now. The lockdown only onto Ignar again. The Maokai's not going to be the best target, but they're going to take him out anyway. Impact still buying some time here in the back line. Neo trying to kite out, outplay this one maybe a little bit deftly with the auto attacks and the Void Seeker to finish off Dardoch. Neo is down now too. There is your Bud Light ace, and there is your victory. Evil Geniuses remain the only undefeated team after week 1 of the lock-in tournament.
And they are doing it with some style, breaking out the Rise, looking really good throughout this game. First Rise we've seen in lock-in, first Maokai we've seen in lock-in, making it work big time. Definitely has been good as well across these 3 games, which I think was the biggest question mark for the team. Impact has been crushing it. 3 straight Renekton games. He's always finding the angles. But the thing that is most promising for me about EG is how well coordinated they actually do look. You know, every single time we saw these fights around Dragon, it is Jizuke coordinating well with Impact, timing their engages, timing TP flanks to get on top of Saligo, wipe him off the face of the map right off the bat. Ignar is in there with the engages right alongside them. So it's just nice to see how well coordinated this team looks already.
Yeah, and especially considering this isn't the same story as like 100 Thieves, which is 4 of the same players playing together again. The synergy's already pre-built. This Evil Geniuses squad just feels like they've got a natural synergy with one another. They've been a lot of fun to watch here in these first 3 games in week 1. I'm looking forward to getting to see more of them in week 2 and 3, because if one of your innate advantages is how coordinated you are, at the start of the season, that will start to disappear after a couple of weeks, and the other teams get more coordinated themselves, right? By comparison, you won't be as far ahead. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing for Evil Geniuses, is do they have the raw skill to also be able to keep up when everybody else starts to gel together a little bit better too? Because right now, it looks like the answer is going to say yes.
It definitely does, and I'm excited to see that development. I think that Jizuke is showing a lot of promise, and this team, I think, feels like the sky's the limit right now if they can keep improving alongside each other.
Awesome stuff from them. It's time for us to head to a break here once again. But once we return from that break, we will have Svenskeren ready for the Verizon post-game interview. Don't y'all go anywhere.
Introducing Fantasy LCS, live now on the Sleeper app. Create a league. You are the coach. Draft your ultimate LCS team. Plan your roster and make coaching decisions each week. Compete against friends throughout the season. Rep your team, talk trash, and see if you've got what it takes to win your league. Download Sleeper now. The fantasy season begins on February 5th.
To the LCS Lock In tournament and the Verizon post-game interview here with Svenskeren after another Evil Genius victory. In fact, that's the first thing I want to talk to you about, Svenskeren, is you're the only team remaining in the tournament to have not dropped a game. So sitting at 3-0, how are you feeling about the team's performance so far? Was this expected for you guys?
Yeah, so obviously I'm feeling pretty good about starting out 3-0, but I think we did a lot of mistakes in all the games, so we're by no means perfect. And I mean, obviously this is just a good learning experience for us, like our first high pressure games. So yeah, just a lot to learn from these games. And I mean, I'm just happy that we're starting out looking pretty strong.
Learning experience for all the teams, but coupled with the impressive performance that you guys have put up so far, comes a general sentiment from both the community and analysts alike that perhaps Evil Geniuses was underrated in terms of the offseason moves that was made. So I want to go through a couple of them with you. First and foremost, reunited with Impact up there in the top lane. What is it that you believe a player like Impact really brings to a team in such a positive way?
I think Impact is just really 1v9 in his decision making and shot calls. Like this is something that most top laners don't really do. And yeah, I mean, it's something I've been looking up to him for ever since playing against him in NA for like 6 years now. Like he's just always shot calling in late game and making game winning decisions. So it's nice to learn from him in a team as well, because I mean, he just makes pretty insane calls that I think I can learn a lot from. So yeah, it's just really nice to play with him.
Similarly, Ignar now in the support position actually put up our first Imperial Mandate Maokai performance of the LCS split here today. A guy known for some of his ingenuity and willingness to pick up new things. Jungle support, two roles that have to work together quite often. How do you feel about that partnership and the development of your synergy together?
Yeah, so it's pretty nice playing with Ignar as well. I mean, everyone on the team so far, I've had a nice experience with it. But Ignar as well, like, it's just really willing to go for some crazy plays, and it makes it easier for the rest of the team to look a lot better when your support is just making crazy plays. Like, we just follow up on it, and a lot of the time it just works out. And the enemy team is not really expecting you to go that ham. So, yeah, I mean, it's really easy to play with him because he's just a nice guy, and also he works really hard, so that's nice.
Finally, I just want to ask you about your own personal journey here in 2021. Obviously, with a lot of changes to the format, not only this tournament, but the way that the entire season record is going to feed into international play, particularly that World Championship in the end. As someone who has been around in the professional scene for so long, has gone through the ups and downs and the changes of items, champions, formats, and everything, how are you looking at 2021 and your opportunities, to play at the highest level and ultimately represent North America at the World Championship?
Yeah, so coming into this year, I'm just gonna work my hardest to finally get a title again. I haven't gotten that in so long, so that's just my ultimate goal at the moment, is just get another LCS title, and then obviously go to Worlds is something I really want to do again. But
Beautiful.
yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna try my hardest and hopefully get a title.
It starts with a lock-in title. Maybe then we get the LCS title to follow that. Sven Skjern, very impressive performances out of Evil Geniuses throughout the lock-in tournament so far. From here, we're heading back to the State Farm Analyst desk to break down yet another Evil Genius victory. Sven, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dash. EG, game number 3, another W for them. It actually means that they secure the #1 spot in their groups, regardless of what happens next week. A bit of weight lifted off their shoulders. Looking back at this last game, though, Alorum, this is the second game in a row where we have seen the teams begin their focus down bot.
Right, so I would have liked them to play a little bit more around the top side because we saw that Fake God had a really bad trade early on who was low. And this dive, it is a 5-man dive. You're committing the Renekton TP, and it went 2 for 2. That is not what you want to see. I think these are pretty hard. When you're playing Maokai and you start out hitting a Leona, you're aiming for the Aftershock character, and it's going to be very difficult to get this dive off successfully. And as we saw, 2 for 2 when it's a 4v5 is just not the ideal situation. However, what they could have done is they could have pathed topside, and with the rise priority that you get on the Zoe, we saw it once where you can easily go up there, you can hit the Renekton W and the rise EW, and it's a super easy kill. And with Fake God's poor trading early on, I think they could have abused Gnar, and that's a problem that I think a lot of teams aren't doing, is that Gnar is such an easily abusable pick when he's outside of Mega Gnar that I really want teams to start focusing that side.
So I think you make a great point with EG having 2 options, being able to punish the Gnar with the Renekton matchup or commit to the bottom side. Yet early on in the tournament, I think EG, with the way that they've been playing, which really focuses on playing as a group, moving up together, I really think just making as many plays as possible that allow for those tower dives and giving themselves the opportunity to, hey, if we played it better, it would have gone our way, I think is the way that EG is going to keep moving forward. And this is a package of Soligo, who after that dive was actually really active across the map. Him and the Nidalee combination were very effective, and it's something that I think is an interesting development for Dignitas, because I never thought that the synergy between Dardoch and Soligo would actually develop and get to a point where it's contesting with our current top team in EG, at least to the halfway mark of this game. And Soligo, I'm still going to be singing his praises. I think he was a guy that was severely rated very poorly for his own fault for that, but he's been really stepping up and playing a lot of champions that not only fit his entire composition, but fit his own playstyle too.
I mean, you mentioned Dardoch as the other part of that. I got to give him some props. He went with the Moonstaff build, going Moonstone Renewer and Staff of Flowing Waters. It's a new build that's just starting to emerge. I love it. It's a super efficient build path, and it allows you to power spike way earlier than anyone else in the game really can. If you look at the first Drake fight that kind of broke out, he is on Moonstone Renewer. This is like 11 and a half minutes in the game. No one else has a mythic item, and it allows in an extended Drake situation to get multiple procs off. His heal is actually insanely efficient because it applies an attack speed buff for 7 seconds on something. So if you stay in combat, you get so many triggers off, and it allows these long fights that you just keep healing. And it's never like a massive burst, but you just saw plus 100 to Deathly there. Excuse me, not Deathly. Neo, and then it's going to keep happening. You're going to see these little green shots go over to people. There was another one for Aphromu, and it's just over these long sequences. You get so much value out of it, and then you get to build the Staff of Flowing Water after, which is going to keep buffing up your teammates. It's a really cheap build. We also saw Imperial Mandate Maokai this game, so like everything about this game for items and champions I was in love with. It was a scrappy game. It was back and forth. This was such a treat to watch.
I think it's cool, though, that we start tracking that Moonstone Renewer early on, because seeing that random 100 health just pop up into the Aphelios is going to be really tricky to keep track of during these team fights, because it's going to get hectic. There's going to be more mandates, more renewers, and more random 100 healths just spurting across multiple champions once everyone realizes how OP this item can be.
It really makes these fights so much fun to watch, too. And looking specifically at a fight that happened later in the game, Alorum, that last Drake really felt like it was kind of the turning point that was putting this into the pocket of EG.
Right. I just think that teams, it's kind of hard to play with Gnar. I'm going to keep on bagging on Gnar because I just don't think the pick is as good as everyone thinks it is. If you are not sufficiently playing Gnar, then I think it's worthless. You're not going to accurately get your Mega Gnar in time. It requires a lot of coordination, and if you can't get the Mega Gnar ult off, and if it's not a big one, you're just getting one guy, it's really not that useful. It's too abusable, and I think in the future, if we keep seeing Gnar picks, we're going to see it doing worse and worse. I'm not a believer in the Gnar.
You got to put a little bit of respect in Impact's name, though, because he had huge teamfight flank after teamfight flank. That teamfight in particular was so nuts, where they all line up to try and block the Maokai ult, and then right from behind, here comes Impact with the fat flank, as well as definitely dashing in onto the Zoe, which was hopped forward. I mean, like, that was just such a clean teamfight from EG, where everyone is playing well, and I think that's why they're the best team in the LCS right now.
Oh, best team in the LCS right now, according to Mark Crumbs.
Yeah, the Gnar thing that Alarum was saying is that the buffs, Gnar has been getting buffed repeatedly for the past few patches, but all the buffs go to Mega Gnar. None of them go to Mini Gnar. So you're having a champion who's split his time 50-50 between Mega and Mini, and then half of the buffs are all going for the side that is the most difficult to execute, the one that is all about the AoEs, and the one that requires as much coordination with your team as possible. So all the buffs that are happening towards Gnar are never even in the area where Gnar players were most known for. Most known for Gnar style is split pushing, 1v1 Mini Gnar, and being a really AD-style nuisance that way. So I think that teams will just get over the first week or two jitters of, hey, we thought Gnar was good because he got buffed, and then quickly realize, okay, we're not playing him the way that Gnar is supposed to be played. These buffs don't actually do much.
Right. I might be getting ahead of myself because this is the lock-in tournament, and you're going to see a lot less coordinated team play, and I'm a believer in at picking your comfort at this early into the league. So maybe it will get better as it goes on, but so far, I think unless you're LPL Gnar, I'm not a believer.
Oh, not a believer from Alorum. Well, lucky for us, we got a little bit of a commercial break so that you can give Zeus some head pats there in the back. When we return, everybody, we do have TSM versus CLG. You don't want to miss it. They've been keeping us on our toes. Stay tuned.
I don't really consider it gear. It's an extension of who I am. It blurs the line between fantasy and reality. Sometimes, I can't tell myself from my machine. I think that's by design.